This is our paranormal podcast because this is our paranormal community, and we want to support you here on RU Media Network. We are proud to be sponsored by the Haunted Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York. Here are your hosts, Brian Mersall and Sean Gilmore.
All right, see, I did it again. Oh, I feel like my kids now, not learning from my past mistakes. All right, welcome everybody to our paranormal here on RU Media Network. I'm Sean Gilmore. I'm one of your hosts, my co-host, Brian.
Brian Mersall, how are you, Sean?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, real good.
Good.
In the Christmas spirit.
I am totally like doing it. So like what happened was my wife and my kids are like, this is my work office. So I work from home. This is my work office. Like we're gonna totally decorate your office. And the Santa hat actually goes on the Parapooch. But I've been putting it on for the podcast stuff. And they just got me this guy. Look how cool he is. They just got me this today. I don't know what he is, like a little Christmas gnome guy. So, and if you look behind me, Sprinkle the elf is in there. Yeah, he came and surprised us too. We'll see if my daughter sees it because he came down for our podcast last week and we didn't realize it and nobody knew where he was at. And my daughter was in a little bit of a panic. So I don't know. All right. So I just figured out why our names aren't showing. So that's fun. Everybody, please welcome our special guest, Melody Knapp from Ghost Finders. Oh, I'm so excited to have you on. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem. I used to do what you do, where you go investigate and you get to be part of these really neat documentaries and you get to share your experiences, and it's so cool. So I'm really excited to really dig into that and to see, because I mean you get to work with Dan Class and and you have a psychic medium on your team that channels like it's insane. So I just want to kind of like dive right in because you guys air on VidiSpace and on Amazon Prime and but we can't find you yet, right? You're the newest member. We're gonna get to see you soon.
Yes, very soon. I don't have an actual release date, but yes, my episodes will be airing hopefully next, I believe.
That's awesome. Now, what's really neat also is if you guys look on the ticker, you see her website there. We are the ones announcing her new website.
Exclusive. You guys got the exclusive.
That's awesome. So it's already up and running.
It is. I still have a few minor edits to make, but it is live, and you guys are the first ones that have been given access to it.
I'm pumped.
Yeah.
See, it's so cool. And it's everyone that's watching today, they'll get access to it as well, or they have access to it now. And I kind of looked briefly at it before the show. It is a really nice looking website. Now, I don't know. Okay. The first picture on the website as I opened it was of Rob. Can we talk about Rob real quick? I've never met the guy. He seems super nice on the documentaries that I've seen of Ghost Finders. But what's really interesting about Rob is when he channels. There was one episode they were doing a seance. It was a group of investigators, and everyone was doing a seance around a table, and he was channeling. And only place I've seen anything like this And I mean, no disrespect, was in the movies. Like, I was like, holy cow! Like, I've worked with psychics before, but I've never seen that before. That is so intense.
Yeah, Rob, he's so gifted. And this is my first experience actually working with a trans medium as well. So a big difference between Rob and a lot of other mediums is he actually channels the entities. So he lets them come in and speak through him and act through him. And it's very powerful and it's very emotional, like especially as it's occurring. So if anyone hasn't watched our Hinsdale House live feed, which is available on our Facebook page, as well as paranormalwarehouse.com, there was a moment where Rob started channeling like an old Native American spirit. And it got really intense really quick because the spirit like immediately like through Rob like turned to me and then got real close. And it got so intense that Dan had to step in, and Megan as well, who is our witch on the team. She is just such a beautiful soul. So she was doing kind of like the back end magic work while Dan was kind of like right there, like with his hand like in between us, because things got real super quickly. And that's kind of like how it goes. It's one of the things that you kind of have to be aware of and prepared for when working with a medium who, like a psychic that channels in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be real intense, kind of unpredictable then, because spirit can be unpredictable.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. And I mean, all of us as like investigators or even those interested in the field, we all know that like when it comes to the supernatural and the unexplained, it's always on their time and it's always their will. Like we can't really force much when it comes to that. So when they're channeling through it, we have no idea what to expect. And Rob doesn't know what to expect. You'll see like a lot of times he just gets overcome with all of these different emotions and he'll cry, and just like we have to kind of rally around and really be there for him after the experience because it is so draining. And you can tell it just affects him like on such an internal level.
Yeah.
I mean, so are you sensitive at all?
Well, okay. I run on the theory that everyone has sensitive capabilities, but no, I am not a psychic or anything of that sort.
Okay. Well, I believe, personally, I'm an empath, but I believe that you can grow to have it just through, like, I've worked with several investigators who've been doing this for a long time, and just by doing it and by being around it, you kind of grow to recognize the energies. Like, you could probably walk into a place and be like, oh yeah, this place is haunted.
Oh, absolutely. And as someone who's been researching the paranormal for over a decade now, it's something that I've kind of like fine-tuned. Like people always ask me like, oh, are you having these experiences all day, every day? And like my true answer is no, because I know how to block myself and shut myself off for it. When it comes to an investigation, I open myself up far before I actually step foot on the property of the location. It's like the night before, I kind of open myself up because I want a sneak peek. I want to be influenced through dreams, if that's how they want to like approach me at first. You know, I always set that intention. I'll do like a mindful meditation where I literally center myself. I think about the location. I think about whatever spirit is there, whatever energy is there, and I just welcome it. And then from that foot forward, like I'm just open. And that to me is me knowing how to kind of like open that capability and accept it and be willing. Just like you have to shut it off when you walk away, right? That's how we don't get attachment or negative thing or what have you follow us home. We shut it off. We use our protection.
Right. Definitely. And I know Brian, he's not as sensitive, but he takes protection very seriously. But what I was trying to like kind of build up to is just like, do you think that there come a time where you can kind of like feel when it might be time for where things might get like really intense with him? Because I saw a couple times when I'm like, man, this guy gets pretty serious. Like I could see how it could be very almost scary, because does he have control over himself when he's doing that?
Not as much as you would like to think he does.
Right. That's what I
You
was
know,
referring
Rob's
to.
very open. He's still crafting his gift and learning
Mhm.
how, you know, to channel properly, I guess you could say. Rob is just such a soulful person. Like, he has the right intentions, you know. But yeah, like, to answer your question, you can definitely feel it when it's about to happen. There's kind of like a shift. You
Yeah.
can feel that energy shift. So even if he hasn't started actually channeling yet, you know a little bit before. But like we were talking about earlier, you don't exactly know how it's going to come through or what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely. I'd love an opportunity to investigate with him. I mean, that's got to bring the investigation to a whole nother level. And then after you do the seance and after he channels like that, then you're heightened. And then you're kind of like more open. I have an ongoing theory that whether if you're watching a scary movie or paranormal show, once you get to that point, you're like unintentionally more open to spirit, right? So that's why people think think that if you watch something that you're inviting things into your home. Well, me personally, I don't think you're inviting things into your home. I just think that you're more in tune because your senses are heightened. Right. So I think that, I don't know. That's kind of like, I think that he would help you get to that next level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it definitely, I think that's like the really cool thing about the Ghost Finders, right? Is we all bring something to the table. We've got Rob, who is the trance medium, who brings so much. You know, he literally embodies the spirits we're trying to communicate with. We have Megan, who is just this eclectic, I'm so bad at pronouncing it, witch, who is just so good at her craft. Like, she is just so knowledgeable. She brings the magic. She always does ritual before we start, which is just such a beautiful experience to witness. We've got Dan, who obviously owner of the Hinsdale house, much experience in the field. He is our tech guy. He is so good with all the equipment that he brings in. We get to test out new things with him. And then we've got me. We've got the experienced investigator, but I'm also a huge skeptic. I'm a believer, but I'm skeptical of a lot of things that are claimed to be paranormal, because I do believe that a lot of things can be reasoned away with rational explanation, this worldly explanation. And it's really cool. All of our different energies, they match so well. You wouldn't think we would get along, but we all get along so well. It's like this little family of like ghost hunters, investigators, and we bring this crazy energy that just like you can tell when someone's shifted, when someone's not feeling right, or they're experiencing something, and it kind of just feeds one another. It's so interesting to be a part of.
That's really neat. And actually, I kind of wanted to bring up, I'm so sorry, I'm horrible with names, with Megan the witch, because she did a ceremony for the Hinsdale. I think it was the first Hinsdale investigation that Ghost Finders did. And I just found that just amazing what she did. I consider myself to be like a spiritual Catholic, being an empath and taking things in. I just kind of have strayed a little bit more spiritual, right? But I still keep my Catholic faith. So I don't know. I've done a lot of different things that other people in the Catholic faith probably wouldn't agree with. But that I just believe you got to keep yourself open. And what she does is really amazing, and it's got it. She really amps things up. It seems like
she does, and it's, oh my gosh, it's just so fascinating to watch her work. Like, I'm such a creep. Like, I'm always right behind the camera, just like watching her do ritual, because it's so intriguing to me. Because I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything. Like, it's so funny because like I remember before we did our live at Hinsdale recently, like Megan and I got dinner beforehand, and I was questioning her about all these different things. I was like, so are you Wiccan? She's like, no, no, I'm not. I was like, so you have a coven? She's like, no, not how it works. No. I was like, oh, okay. But she's just so knowledgeable in her field, in what she does, in her craft. And it's so interesting the difference between the energy before ritual and after. I wish it could be portrayed. Maybe it is, but like, it's just something you can feel, like in your heart, in the energy around you, like everything just shifts and it's almost like open. Like everything's open and it amplifies everything as well. It's so fascinating to me.
Sorry, Madison Smith, Merry Christmas. Thanks for jumping on and saying hi. Sorry, I had to say hi to Madison. She doesn't jump on very often. It must be for you, Melody.
I think that's interesting because, I mean, most of my investigations are pretty like concrete, and we don't have, that many psychics or anything like jump on the team. And I definitely want to get into your whole origin stories with the paranormal and everything, and we're probably going to get there and I'm going to geek out. But I guess while we're on the topic, so is this like this is like your main team and you've predominantly just been investigating with like psychics and everyone, or?
So I'm the most recent addition to the Ghost Finders.
Okay.
What was appealing about the team was it's a group of people I've never really worked with before. I'm kind of like you, Brian. Like I came from like a more evidence-based investigate crew. Like those are my roots, documenting, diving in, debunking, I guess you could say, that those are my roots. So this was a completely different opportunity that I've never really been involved with before. Like I was always very skeptical of psychics. I didn't know much about witchcraft, as I said before. So I actually did a guest appearance with the Ghost Finders back in 2018. It was just like an out of the blue. They reached out to me about coming on as an investigator, and I was like, yeah, why not? I'll never turn down a chance to investigate with a new team. Like I'm willing to try anything once. And I went out there and I was shocked by the experience I had with them, because not to say that I was skeptical of their abilities, but I had just never really investigated with people like that before. And it was like a whole new world for me. And it's like, I'm insatiable with it. Like, I love it.
So because, you've had such a grounding experience in the past, and then you're talking about how you can feel different things. You can feel different things in your heart. What's the key difference, like when you're investigating with people that have, this kind of impact on the spirits, with the psychics and the magic versus just like a regular group, like is it just like all around like such a crazy different feeling, or?
Yeah, I feel very confident in saying that, just because I investigated for so long with just like your typical paranormal investigative teams. It's very cut and dry. I mean, obviously you're open-minded with every investigation, right? Like you go in like with no preconceived notions. Like I, for one, when I go into places, I never try to, get stuck on certain things like, oh, there's this spirit by this name and they do this. I have another rabbit hole I could jump down with that. I think it's possible projections of like misinformation that we manifest, kind of like the Phillips experiment, like we hear this and then we like manifest it when it's happening.
Gotcha.
But anyway, so with them, it's like, it's like a totally different feeling when investigating, because like with the typical paranormal team, it's very much like, okay, A, B, C, D. This is what we do. These are the teams that we go into each room with. This is the person watching the cameras. And you kind of have these objectives, right? Like you have these objectives. Whereas with the Ghost Finders, we kind of like let the spirits guide us. We kind of just go with the flow. Like there's an episode that'll be coming out. I believe it's the first one they'll air that I am technically in. Where Dan and I kind of went up with this goal to like try and communicate with a specific entity that was supposedly there. And within 5 minutes of us being up there, it shift directions and we followed it. We let it guide us. And that's a good depiction of what the Ghost Finders is like. We kind of just it's this whole other world. It's really hard for me to convey with words because it truly is so much different than what I'm used to.
When I learned that when you have a group like that, when you have a group of spiritual people like that, and you have that connection, it really creates such a great experience for everyone that's involved. And it's really neat that you guys have that, and the way that it shows on film is really cool. I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with. There was something, I can't find it now. So it was for a special that you guys did, I think, on VidiSpace. Is there a documentary that you guys did? I'm thinking of a location.
So the most recent thing that the Ghost Finders released was the Winchester episode.
Yes.
It was kind of like it was filmed and directed by Nick Groff, and it was like a whole experience. Like not so much it was an episode, but it was like an entire cinematic, and like it was supposed to draw you in and make you feel like you were there as well. Beautiful. It came out so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's the one that I saw for it. And honestly, so I have so many subscriptions to things that I don't know. I've been it's not, I mean, I know that VidiSpace has some really, really good stuff on it. It's just like one of those things that I'm just kind of been like keeping my eye on, but it's like, I don't know. My daughter wants to get this other TV app that plays nothing but anime, and so
it's like orange. It's like crumbles or something.
I don't know. I'd have to I forgot what it's called. Tune. I don't know. Animation something. I don't know. But so it's just like. But I saw that, and I saw that Nick Groff. Actually, is he helping produce this whole next season?
Mm-hmm.
Did I read that correctly?
Yeah. You will definitely see him, not so much on camera, but behind the scenes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen quite a few things that he's produced, and he does great stuff. I mean, not to mention, I mean, he's one of the main reasons why Ghost Adventures got to where they're at today. So it's really neat that you got to be a part of that too. So I just might have to go and get VidiSpace, guys, and bite the bullet.
You should, Sean.
I think I'm gonna have to do it after the holidays because I have 3 kids and my bank account's broken. But I think I'm really gonna have to do it, guys, because this looks really, really good. So, guys, I think
so much on VidiSpace.
I think that there's movies, there's all sorts of documentaries. There's more than just the paranormal too. It's like a whole network of really, really cool stuff. And then,
did he cut out there?
I think he did.
I cut out? Okay, so if you can give us your quick 2-minute pitch on VidiSpace of why we should get it.
All right, let me do it.
Go ahead. Yes.
Okay. So first I'm going to start off with, if you go to the comments, Daniel Klaas has actually put in his information. He has a half-off code. I believe it's Shadows. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. So you will actually get half off of your VidiSpace subscription, which I think comes to like $3 a month, which is crazy. If that's not a selling point, I don't know what is. But VidiSpace is like so cool because it's literally everything you could ever want. Not just in the paranormal. They have documentaries. They have like Ken Bogle, if anyone knows him. He does his Coffee with Ken on Sunday mornings, which is so much fun. There's just so many different things. Like anything you could possibly want to watch. It's on there. I mean, Nick Groff, we
Yeah.
were just talking about Nick Groff. His show Deathwalker is on there, which if you haven't seen that yet, you need to. It is phenomenal. It is so phenomenal. It's like nothing you've ever really seen before. I truly enjoyed watching that. And, you know, I have a couple of friends that have some things up there. My friends, Mike and Lindsay, they have a new show out on Friday nights. It's like an imagination show where they kind of like try and get you outside of yourself and come up with different prompts and things like that. It's really cool. Yeah. And of course,
Yeah.
the Ghost Finders is on Viddy Space.
Yes. I think it's perfect. So it's like $3 a month with the half off coupon, and for the 1st half of the year.
And there it is.
Mhm.
Am I pointing the wrong way? That way.
Yeah. I mean, at least you can try it, right? That's a pretty good selling point. And I would just add, I mean, of course, there's like a ton of different content for anything, you know, in the world to consume. I think the whole creative thing would help you break up the monotony of just your everyday life, especially when, you know, this life and our jobs are trying to just put you in different boxes. If you're in the paranormal field, you have to have like a creative outlet or something to help guide you, just so you can stay sane and, you know, keep relevant in the paranormal community, let alone all these different ideas. You've got, whether you're leading a group, you're in a group, you're about to start a group, you know, the best way is to look at the other groups and see what they're doing and see how they get passionate and excited. So I think for $3 a month, that's a pretty, you know, exciting thing. So.
Yeah, and it's a great start. It's a great start. Like, even if you don't want to actually actively be in the field, it's a great way to feel a part of without the risk of like asbestos and things like that going to these different locations.
And, you know, the big selling point is I heard Sean doesn't have it.
So now you have to get it before him.
And look what happened to Sean. If you don't want to be like Sean, you need to get Viddy Space.
Right? Yeah, he's not even relevant anymore.
Oh, no.
All right,
poor Sean.
Poor Sean. But for anyone who doesn't know Melody, all right, so that, you know, they're just popping on. They're like, who is this person? You know, Sean got snowed in, right? So who are you? How did you get started in the paranormal community? What got you excited enough to jump first, you know, head first in investigating? Tell us the whole origin story.
All right, guys, buckle up. This will be fun. So for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Melody Knapp, and I am a paranormal researcher who has been investigating the field of the supernatural for over a decade. I am currently an investigator on the Ghost Finders, which we were just previously talking about, is available to stream on Viddy Space, Amazon Prime. We have a few on Facebook, YouTube. We have a Roku channel called the Spirit Channel. You can find us pretty much anywhere. So for me, where it all started is I've always had this fascination with the paranormal. I had a few experiences as a child, but like I always rationalized and kind of like just was like, oh, that's not what I think it is. The big one for me is I went to this abandoned state hospital, and I saw like the Holy Grail. I saw a full-bodied shadow, I'll say apparition, but it was like a creature. It was like a shadow creature. It ran out from a bulkhead into the path I was walking on, stopped, looked at me, like snapped its head wicked quick, looked at me, and then turned, ran away, and disappeared in front of my eyes. Now, funny, I had a video camera in my hand, but I was so shocked by what was happening, I did not record it, and I still kick myself in the butt to this day about it. But having that experience, that is what pushed me. I was like, I need to know, I need answers. I need to learn more. So I immediately joined a team in my area called New Hampshire Project Paranormal, which was actually founded by my cousin Eric Knapp, who I believe was on this show a little while ago. Yeah. And I started investigating with them. And we said, hi, Rob, I see you. I love you guys. Look at the support. So we started filming Hunting the Haunted, which brought us to all over Pennsylvania, New York, like Massachusetts, New Hampshire, where we're all from. And it was incredible. So I did that for a while, and then I kind of branched out on my own, and I started hosting public events in 2016, which is where I met Dan at the Hinsdale House. It's where I hosted my very first public event. And then I hosted a couple more, and then I took a little break to have my beautiful son. And that brings me to now with the Ghost Finders. For a little while, I forgot, I was doing a guest segment on Spooky South Coast, which is run by Stephanie Burke and Tim Weisberg out of Massachusetts. I did the Week in Weird every Saturday night. So I would kind of like bring like the weirdest articles and news from the paranormal from the previous week. That was a lot of fun. And I would kind of be like a paranormal news correspondent. And, that all snowballed. And I went and I guest investigated with the Ghost Finders. And it kind of just organically happened that I joined their team.
And that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. So and no one, because you said you've been investigating for like about a decade now.
So hold on. I'm interrupting.
Oh dear.
I'm back.
Hi, Sean. Welcome back.
Sean, is that you?
Oh, that's me. So my dog somehow disconnected the internet for the whole house. Like as soon as I got bumped off here, like I hear my kids yelling, "What happened to the internet?" So I had to go and fix that real quick, but I'm back.
Don't you lie to our community here. You got the pop-up that said, "Would you like to join VidiSpace?" You said, "Maybe I'll think about it," and you declined it. And they shut you down.
They shut me down.
They shut you down.
No, I'm going to.
You know what you missed, Sean?
What I was going to ask. I need a filler.
Off code. We have the 50% off code for VidiSpace.
Is it
we want you to pay
pudding?
the full.
I see.
We want you to pay the full price now.
Oh, so now but since I got booted, I have to pay full price.
Yeah.
That's all right. You start off with like 2 months free, anyways. So, right?
Not for you.
I'm not sure about that, but Dan I'm pointing the wrong way. Look in the comments, Sean. Dan put a 50% off code for a year.
Well, Dan is the man. Oh, here it is.
Like
half
$3
off.
a month. Yep.
Decades. I found it right there. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Dan. That's awesome of you to do that. I'm gonna have to do it because Dan was on a couple weeks ago, and now having you on, and I just like the more interesting it got. And I watched the full season on Amazon since Dan was on the first season. There's 10 seasons. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what am I missing out on? I'm going to have to get it. And since I'm getting it, everybody has to get it. Brian, you have to get it.
Correct. And we'll get it together. I told Melody I'd get it before you, so I'm going to get it before you. And
I'm going to go get it right now.
Whoever downloads it first gets a free Ghost Finders t-shirt. How about that?
What? I'm doing it right now.
That's what I'm talking about.
College accepted. VidiSpace.
I'll pay full price for your shirt just to support you and your team.
Start free trial right there.
Send me the link after the show. I'll get some swag and support. Sean, what you missed, and this is the biggest recap. Like Melody, listen, people start their own paranormal adventure in so many different ways. Maybe some childhood stuff going on. Maybe they have a loved one that passed and they're trying to prove that there's an afterlife just to give them some hope and clarity. And then, some investigators have been doing this for 50, 60 years. They're looking for the Holy Grail. They're looking for some kind of apparition. And Melody's like, yeah, I went to a state prison and I saw something better. It was more than an apparition. I'm seeing this figure, come out, just almost like basically waved to me, and it just freaked me out and everything. So, I mean, an experience that people have been chasing for decades, you had like on your first run. So I can totally see
right out the gate.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get any better than that.
No, and it's something that I haven't experienced yet. Like since that first time, I'm just still so intrigued by it because there's no rhyme or reason. Like, I wasn't there with the team. I wasn't actually investigating. I was just a stupid kid with a cell phone camera, just looking, searching for something. You know what I mean? And oh boy, did it deliver.
Yeah. So I mean, why do you think you had that experience, but you haven't had something on that caliber yet so far after a whole decade?
I mean, I think it was just a accumulation of like the perfect settings. Like, it was a full moon. It was in October. Like, you know, it was just like a silly girl with like one other friend, like in the middle of the night, being where she shouldn't be. You know, all the stuff that I'm very much against now, but at the time, I don't know.
Was it more like urban exploration or?
Yeah. So it wasn't like an actual like investigation. It was more just exploring and then coming face to face with something that I wasn't even at that time sure existed. I didn't believe in paranormal experiences. I didn't believe people really saw things like this. I was just always interested in it. And I've always been very skeptical. And I remember like when that situation happened, I tried to explain it away, but then it's like there's no explanation for seeing something run out in front of you, hearing it on the ground, and watching it disappear in front of your eyes. Like, I could not explain that. There's no rationalizing that. Like, I wasn't drunk. I wasn't like on anything. Like, there was literally nothing to explain what I saw. And the person I was with saw it as well. Although once we got to the car, that person has refused to accept that we saw that to this day.
That's crazy. But like, you both saw it. You both described the same thing. And she's like, nah, that didn't happen. Like, what are you talking about?
Yep.
Isn't that funny how some people do that though? When it comes to any sort of a supernatural experience, that people will just explain it away, you know, and it's just so funny how people will do that.
Yeah.
It's and my own family did that when I was having my experiences, you know, when I was a kid, and it's I don't know. I never to me, it's like, how many experiences do you have to admit that there's something going on and see something right in front of your face to deny that?
Yeah, I think it really boils down to like people's acceptance of it. Like, some people just do not want to believe, even if they witness it. They just don't want to accept that is real, that there is something else besides just us living and breathing, you know? And there's absolutely nothing that can deter them from that mindset. And that's okay if that's how they want to live. Like, that's absolutely okay. Like, the paranormal world, or I don't even want to say it's paranormal. The unexplained, it doesn't have to be everyone's cup of tea. Not at all.
Yeah, so I work in like a professional field, but I mean, this is a huge passion project of mine, and I have, you know, just, you know, you can write books on all the crazy stuff that, like, all the topics that we know, like, have like a wealth of knowledge about, and my like feeler is always like, oh, you know, that looks creepy, it's totally haunted, and like try and like gauge where they're at in the paranormal. They're like, oh, that's totally haunted, and I watch all the seasons, then we can gush about like all the different paranormal stuff, you know. But like, if they're like, oh, I don't mess with that stuff, I'm like,
oh, me neither. Oh yeah, I wouldn't mess with that stuff.
Oh jeez,
I have no idea what you're talking about. I would never. I would never.
Yeah. Oh no.
So like Brian, I'm not worried about the shirt, but I have to say, I think I won. There's my proof.
There you go.
Yay!
There it is,
Good
guys.
job,
I did it.
John.
Now everyone else has to do it. I'm on VidiSpace. I'm going to go watch all the Ghost Finders episodes, and I'm going to see when Melody is on Ghost Finders. And now I'm the lucky one. And now, real quick, I was going through the comments here.
I've been looking at them too.
What
goes quick.
How did my facial reaction?
It was a good face.
Oh,
It was a good
geez.
phase.
Was it?
You know, it's the face you make when you sign up for VidiSpace for the first time.
Yes.
You know, that kind
Yes.
of excitement.
Yep.
Well, it's just a little more like you're really into it. You're really excited.
Or was it like,
Oh, hey, you know, it's up to your interpretation, my friend. But
I'll go back and watch
it was a great
See how
face.
much I embarrassed myself.
It was really good.
It
That's
was a
awesome.
great face.
And Dan, class, I just saw that you messaged me a bunch of times. I'm sorry, I was busy trying to fix the internet in my house. So I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's all sorts of chaos going on in the house today. I think they're getting ready for Monday. So I don't know if you guys are aware, right? So next week is not only Christmas, but there's supposed to be a huge energy shift on the 21st, right? There's supposed to be like the planets are supposed to align, and it's supposed to create this awakening. Have you guys been following this at all?
No.
No? Okay. So
I'm not big into astrology, so please tell us more, Sean. I'm very interested.
This is more than just an astrology thing, though. I've been watching people on all over Facebook and other social media talking about this big spiritual awakening. Now, first of all, the planets are supposed to align. Was it Saturn and I think Jupiter are supposed to align, so it creates a North Star for the first time in like 300 plus years. And there's people that believe it's going to create this.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, John's comment was great.
It awakens the stocks. I just
my man. My man.
So yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. I don't know. There's a lot of people who are really into that, and they believe it. I believe that I've been feeling it as an empath. I've been feeling the energy shifts that have been going on all year. For it to all be building up to Monday, I don't know. I am not somebody that I would go to for information on anything like this. I'm not very well informed as well as others may be. I just kind of go, I get curious, I read about it, I watch YouTube videos about it. And because I go, especially when it comes to energy changes, because I've been feeling it all year round, and it's been really, really intense. And so when I saw this, they're saying it's the dawn of Aquarius, or the dawning of the age of Aquarius, like that, the musical Hair. I don't know if you guys are into musicals at all, but there's this old like hippie musical. It's the age of Aquarius. I'm not going to try. Yeah, let's not talk about me singing right now.
Yeah, you got a good voice, my friend.
Oh no, we're not.
Oh, guys, look who popped on. Nick Groff. Hi, Nick.
Hey, Nick. Thanks for jumping on.
How are you?
All right.
Especially you, Sean.
And Nick. I got it, Nick. I got VidiSpace. I went and shared that. So I proved it. And now that I did it, everyone else needs to do it. John Ward, you need to get VidiSpace.
Everyone get VidiSpace.
Nick.
Yes.
Nick, you got to get VidiSpace. Everybody, you got to get VidiSpace. I'm a good singer. Well, someone will be the judge of that coming up pretty soon. I don't want to even talk about that. I got tricked into a Para-Unity song. I'm not allowed to say the name of the song. And, I thought it was going to be something fun like Jingle Bells. And it was definitely more intense than Jingle Bells. And I may have turned Christmas and I may have turned it to the Nightmare Before Christmas, but not
Let's
as cool.
go. Hey, I need to quickly say something. My mom is watching the show, and she loves all the paranormal shows. So when I get Vidi Space, I'm going to give her access, and she's going to be able to watch all of your content. And she's a huge fan of all the shows, so she'll get excited. But she, Melody, she loves the shows. She's been watching for years, but she's uncomfortable when it comes to taking the first step. And it's not so much the asbestos that you alluded to earlier, but rather maybe some kind of attachments, or just the whole like paranormal anxiety you get prior to an investigation. What kind of tips would you give someone like my mother, who loved the paranormal, loved the shows, but they're a little hesitant to actually get in and do the investigating?
Yeah, so when it comes to attachments, I think it's really important to go to the basics. So kind of like when you're using a spirit board, right? Like you always say hello when you start the conversation, you do whatever, and then when you're done, you say goodbye and you close the door. The exact same needs to be done on every single paranormal investigation. You need to acknowledge the spirits, even if they didn't come through, because they may have and you just didn't notice, or you know what I mean? You just weren't in tune to it, which is absolutely okay. But every single investigation, anytime you go out and you go to a location or what have you, close the door. You thank the entities. You say, thank you for communicating with me, but I'm going to go now. You're not allowed to come with me. You're not welcome to follow me out. Thank you. Say thank you and leave. That to me is the best piece of advice that I can give. I mean, you can go even further with like protection charms, excuse me. I don't know why I stuttered, all of that kind of stuff. But I'm a believer that it comes down to the intent. It comes down to the intent that you are saying thank you and goodbye. You're not allowed to come with me.
Yeah, because and she's saying I won't let her use because our group, we don't use Ouija boards, just because you hear all the horror stories. And even though you might have good intentions and you might have like your walls, it doesn't mean maybe the 1 out of 10 people in your group might be able to bring something in, and so it's just like my group's little thing. Like we don't use Ouija boards, but I understand the full the full capacity of intent. But just for and Mom, she was using that as an example, where you say goodbye, you say hello, you say goodbye. That's how you should be on investigations. That's what you're saying. And with all of our investigations, there's a pre-investigation prayer and a post-investigation prayer, and I always say, look, if you don't believe in God, if you're not religious, you always want to just, maybe ask the universe or whatever you believe in, to help, ask for protection before, during, and after, and always making the clear intent of you can't follow us home, you can't do anything of that such. So that's there, and she's still a little hesitant.
And I'd also like to just note, just because we touched on it, so spirit boards, talking boards, or if you just want to call them Ouija boards, I just want to be very clear that they're just another form of communication. It is literally no difference than you doing a spirit box session, an EVP session, an Ovilus session, what have you. It's just another tool. There's just been some movies that perpetuated some really bad misinformation about it, but I can absolutely respect your approach. Although I would be hesitant if you don't think that everyone on your team might have the best intent. Just because, like I said, it doesn't matter what you're doing when it comes to if you're using a spirit board, if you're using an SB7, not to reiterate what I just said, but no matter how you're trying to communicate, it's still trying to communicate. So if the intention's not good, in one aspect, it's not going to be good in any aspect. But I just wanted to clarify that I'm a firm believer that spirit boards are a great tool to utilize in the field. But I absolutely respect people that do not want to use them, because anytime there's fear, that can be really dangerous in an investigation. So if there's any kind of fear, I'm absolutely an advocate. Do not use it, But I just wanted to point that out really quickly, because I had used it as an analogy, and I feel like it kind of spiraled.
Yeah, no.
But it was just the whole hello, goodbye thing. Same with walking.
I've always been a big advocate of your intention is what is really matters most. It doesn't matter how you're trying to gain communication. We're trying to gain communication with spirit. And when we're doing that, there's a lot of risk involved because we don't know exactly who it is that we're trying to communicate with. So you need to make sure that your intentions are clear because like you said, you come in with the wrong intention, then things can just go all haywire for a lot of different reasons, whether if you're using spirit board or pendulum or SB7 or a digital recorder. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you're just trying to gain communication and you have a video camera taking photographs. No matter how you're trying to gain communication, you're gaining communication. You need to make sure that you have that clear intention. For me, before I go into investigation, I do my prayers before and after as well, but I also shield myself. And I also call Archangel Michael to me to protect me along with my spirit guides. Being an empath, I kind of need to have that extra layer because I can be greatly affected and it sticks and it's not okay. Kind of like it. I don't know. So if I've tried, I'm like, you know what, tonight I'm going to try and not do this portion of my protection and see what happens. And no matter what I do, I regret it in one way or another. But that's part of the learning process of doing the paranormal is pushing ourselves to the limit. But as long as we understand and respect that what we're doing, and again, keeping our intentions clear, because there's a lot of risk with this because we don't know who it is we're going to come in touch with.
Yeah. And so I've heard like all of that perspective and I totally agree with it and respect it, and I say run with it. Like I've got a lot of dolls in the basement. Like I collect dolls, and not a lot of people are into like dolls and like having, you know, all that jazz. But
I don't do dolls.
Yeah, but like if someone does a Ouija board and they're happy with it, I'm like 100%, you know, support. Let's go, let's do this. Or like if your team, like the biggest thing you use is Ouija boards, and you're getting a lot of activity, and you guys are all safe and you're having a blast. I'm like, dude, do it. That's fantastic. It's just for me and my personal beliefs. It's just like I'm not sure I want to take that risk because I don't think there's a great enough reward, and that's just for me. But like, I'm not against Ouija boards. I just don't want to use them during investigations. But like, I get the whole intent thing. I don't want to come across like I'm like attacking anyone because I think there's enough attack in the paranormal community.
You know what's funny?
There is, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about the Ouija board? When I was on Ectovision, so real quick, when I was a kid, I had experiences in a haunted home. And my sister and her friend brought the Ouija board in, and it amplified things. Okay, just to make a long story short. So I had a fear for Ouija boards, and I had talked to Eric McGill about doing a show with using a Ouija board. So I'm facing my fear and doing that. And another member of the team, no. But he didn't want to do it. He said it was a parlor game, and he wanted nothing to do with a parlor game being used in a paranormal investigation. I was like, okay. So we respected that, and it didn't go any further. I didn't push it. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it. But I mean, we're asking for communication with dowsing rods, right? And when I'm holding those dowsing rods, spirit is going through me, right? The energy spirit is legitimately going through me. So honestly, I haven't used a Ouija board. The last time I tried using the Ouija board, I believe I was 17 years old and it didn't work with me. But 2 nights later, something was trying to get into my body while I was sleeping. So that's where my fear kind of came from. But I have a much better understanding now with the paranormal and the supernatural. So I would definitely be open to trying it sometime. I mean, I do scrying mirrors. I have 2 scrying mirrors behind me. But I don't know. It's weird. It's a matter of, you know, I think I personally, I just need to do it and just get that over. It's like tearing the Band-Aid off. Just haven't had that opportunity to do it. And my wife, as supportive as she is with me being in the paranormal, she doesn't allow me to bring haunted objects. It doesn't matter if it's a doll. It doesn't matter if it's a piece of furniture. Those things are not allowed in my house. Granted, the Parapooch, I swear he's got some sort of energy on him. I haven't told my wife that. So she's watching. She knows now. But I asked my wife, I'm like, hey, can I just get a Ouija board to put behind me? I thought it'd be cool, like a little decoration piece. Like go to the store and buy the I just wanted to buy the one for one of the TV shows, like something that just looked creepy and cool, right? And my wife was like, why do you need to do that? She said, you can get a tapestry. How about if you get a tapestry? So I might end up with a Ouija board tapestry behind me one day after Christmas, guys. But it's just, you have to respect the people around you always. Whenever I go on investigation with people, especially if it's their first time, I tell them, listen to that gut instinct, and we will all respect that. You get that, you got to go, then we all got to go. We all got to respect that, and we get your mind right. And if not, then, then we'll handle it from there, because you have to go there. You have to make sure you're comfortable, because once fear is involved, that brings the investigation to a whole nother level.
Agreed. And just before we move on, like I saw John Ward's comment on them as well. And I just wanted to say that I absolutely agree with you on that as well. But everyone's right. Like I was saying, like if you're not comfortable, or even if like you are, but like you're unsure, like don't use it. I just wanted to like reiterate my own views on it, because I don't know. It's just another tool to me. I try not to like base anything on like fear, I don't know.
Are you guys old enough to remember the show Paranormal State?
Yeah, of course.
Do you remember they wouldn't do EVP sessions?
Yeah, everyone has like, I feel like everyone has that like one weird thing. Like I don't know. I'm really weird. This is gonna sound really silly, but I'm really weird about taking pictures on investigations.
Really?
Is that strange? Yeah. I'm very weird about taking pictures on investigations. I don't know. Like for me, like I don't know. Like my biggest fear would be like taking a picture and having something like right in the frame.
Gotcha.
And like seeing it like in real time, being like, oh hell no.
So actually, something like that kind of happened. Let me see if I can bring it up here. This photo here. Do you see that mist there? No.
In
the corner here, right? That there. This was on a clear summer night. There was no rain. There was not there's no reason for that to be there. No one was smoking. There was no campfires around. There is no reason for that anomaly to come up. And when we took it, you could see this is back in 2014. This was taken on a digital camera, and we were looking at on the viewfinder. And I showed it to one of the ladies I was with, and they looked at it and they totally freaked out, and they made us jump in the car and leave. And what's crazy is we left so fast I forgot to turn my digital recorder off. I got this crazy EVP. It sounded like it said the name Jack, but it was like, what was that movie with the kid that went, it sounded like The Grudge. Yeah, it was seriously like Jack. Oh, it was like one of the craziest things. And it was right after that. So that photo to me is I understand why, but that's part of what we do though. But also on an investigation, I won't look in a mirror. So really? I'm kind of with you on it. Yeah. Going back again to when I was younger. You
have a cute cat, by the way.
You do have he's beautiful.
Thank you.
You said he was going to come and say hi.
I told you before the show started, I was like, I know she's going to come into frame at some point. She always has to, every single podcast.
So I would be watched through these mirrors, and I felt like whatever was there was following me, and use kind of mirrors as a doorway. And so I grew to have a legitimate fear to mirrors. I to this day still don't have a mirror in my bedroom.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But
That makes sense though,
I don't
because
have
of
a
the theory
problem
that they're
using it.
portals.
Yeah.
You know?
That's part of the reason why I don't have
So-
a problem with my scrying mirrors, because I'm trying to gain communication. But I don't want that while I'm sleeping.
Right.
You know, there's times when like I'll feel spirit like standing at the foot of my bed and things like that, and I can be like, "Hey, I'm trying to sleep, leave me alone," and then I'm okay. But with that mirror there, it's like, no, I'm gonna have to cover it because I don't know. Like it makes me paranoid. Is that weird?
I don't
No.
think it's weird.
I don't think it's weird at all. Because like, here's the thing. So last weekend I had put my son to bed. I was like on my phone. I was getting ready to like do some research for like a new project that I'm doing. And I had like set up with my laptop. I'm like sitting in the same exact chair. And I got this cold rush and like immediately like that sensation of like, you're not alone. And I was like, oh, hell no. Like not in my apartment. Like I'm someone who like, you know, everyone's like, oh, you're a paranormal investigator. Why won't you whip out your equipment? Because I'll tell you right now why. Because my apartment is my safe place.
Yep.
Because my apartment is where my son is. So I'm not going to even crack that door open a little bit to be like, hey, you're allowed to come communicate. No, you're actually not allowed to come communicate here.
Exactly.
So I immediately shut it down. And I said vocally, like, you can say it in your head, but I like to say it vocally because to me that gives it more power. Probably just on my end that it gives it more power. And I was like, hey, I acknowledge that you're here, but you're not allowed to be here. Please go. And it like immediately went away. But like, I am with you on that. Like, I don't want things in my home. Like I go out to investigate. Like I don't want it in my house, like not around my son.
I am 1000% with you on that. I have a strict rule. No investigating in my house. We did an investigation when I purchased my house with Activision, just kind of like a practice thing. And we got some activity, and but after that, I made it known this was a one-time thing. Thank you for talking with us, but it's done now. And I laid down the ground rules for with the kids and everything, because I don't want my kids to be afraid to be in their own home. So I won't. It's not okay, right? It's not okay to gain that communication. There was a time a couple months ago that I got these old chairs, and there's these like they're antique chairs. I got them for free on Facebook, and it was just on one of those sale pages, and I just thought it was like really cool. So I was like, yes, and I was gonna have them behind me instead of these like really nice chairs behind me. I was gonna have these like really old like cool chairs. But I brought them home. My wife was like, no, those things are scary looking. They're not allowed to come in the house. And I was like, well, what am I going to do with it? And so I messaged Adam Kimmel. I was like, hey, can you use this at Fairfield or at Madison? So I was lined up to bring it there. And then I got this weird feeling off the chairs. So I started to investigate it. And I did a Facebook Live. And sure enough, I got some EVPs. And there's spirit attachment to it. So I'm glad I didn't bring them in my house. And that's not the first time that something like that has happened. I bring stuff home and my wife is like, no, that's not allowed in here. There was a doll. There was a completely harmless doll. I found it at a barn sale. It was just a creepy old doll. And I don't know why I bought it. My daughter is like, hey, Dad, look at this. I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy that. And so I brought it home. I was like, no, you're not allowed to have it. So I brought it over to Eric McGill's house. It's still sitting, I think, on the same shelf that I sat it on when I brought it over there. And so, but it's your own. This is our safe space, especially when kids are involved. This is our safe space. What's really neat, I think, is that the pets, like you have the cat that protects us. They protect you. It's really neat. I don't know. I think I think a lot of investigators have pets, and I think that's part of it. And I think that also they're like an empathic like sponge, so they help us release that energy.
Absolutely. I love that. So true. And they're just so calming. I love my cat.
Exactly. Oh, Valerie Wright is
Hi,
on.
Valerie.
So I just ordered this thing. Well, it's my Christmas present for my stocking. It's a chakra wheel, and it's got different crystals in a circle for the chakra, and it's got the. I'm really excited to get this, Valerie. When's it coming? I got an email that from USPS. I expect it here yesterday. No, I'm kidding. I can't open it till Christmas anyways. But she has a really cool thing that she does on Facebook. She sells stuff live on Facebook.
Ooh, I'll have to check it out. That sounds really cool.
Yeah. I got... hold on. This tiger's eye skull from her.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I like amethyst too. Another skull.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got cool stuff. So,
Melody, we have a special segment on the show, but right before we do it, I know you had a 2-minute pitch for the subscription each month. Can you give a 2-minute pitch real quick for someone who's on the fence, like my mother, who loves the paranormal, loves the shows, but just needs that extra bump of motivation to actually start investigating? What's the 2-minute pitch to get involved in investigating?
Only 2 minutes? All right, challenge accepted.
Let's go.
It's the most exhilarating experience that I've ever had. It's truly like walking back in history, or forward if you're into those whole time traveling theories floating around out there right now. So anyone who's very interested in the shows that they watch and like want to get involved and want to go out and investigate, I want you to know, first and foremost, you're like, welcome to the paranormal field. We want you here and we need you here. We need new people. We need open minds, and we need fresh experiences to help our field grow and our theories grow. And that you're completely capable. I feel like a lot of people are kind of held back by this notion like, oh, I see other people do it, I can't do it. Yes, you can, because each one of us had that thought like, oh, we want to do this. The only difference is like we put that one foot in front of the other and like stepped in and went. So if you want to start off slow, I really suggest like a public event that are normally hosted in like every area around the country. It's a really great way to like start out in the field. You go, you have the people that do it often that are hosting it, and they'll walk you through the place. They'll have equipment, hopefully provided for you to use. You don't have to go out and drop like $1,000 on equipment you're not sure if you're going to use. They'll teach you how to use it, and you can actually kind of get a feel of what it's like to be on an investigation. And not just that, but there's like a lot of other people there, so you won't be afraid. Hopefully you like won't have that fear inside of you when you're going out and doing this, because you're with other people who are proclaimed like not investigators, and they want to try it out too. So public events are always like my go-to. If someone's like, oh, I'm not sure, like it's a great introduction into the field. And then who knows, there's so many teams out there that need investigators, that need equipment techs, that need camera operators, you know. And not just that, but like you can start your own. There's nothing stopping you, and we welcome you.
You are a true champion. I am so excited for this next segment, because you just have this way of making all these different thoughts consumable to everyone, and very, very fluent, and I love it. So
definitely. Okay. I want to say something real quick. The way I got in the paranormal was I first started to ask some friends. I'm not lucky like Brian, where my friends are like, yeah, let's do it. My friends are like, looked at me like I was completely insane. Like, hell no, I'm not doing that. So I went to a Paracon by myself. I filled my backpack up with my notebook and my stuff. Then I went. And I went by myself, and I made a lot of friends, and here I am today.
Yeah, so, Paracons are so much fun, but that's like the nerd in me. Like I love sitting into lectures and hearing people talk. My favorite part. I love Paracon. So that's another suggestion. Like go to a Paracon, because I'm telling you, if you don't sit in a lecture from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and not want to get out in the field, I don't know what's going on. Like
that's
that's where it's at.
All right, Melody. Let me find it. This is the segment of the show where I find the little pot. Okay.
You got the video one too.
Yes, I found it. Into the Abyss. Okay. This is the segment where there's 13 fast fire questions. All right. And you're going to have to answer them as thorough and as fast as possible. 13 lucky 13. And it's all on you. And then so the whole community is going to get to know you a little better, and we're all excited. First off, question number 0. Question number 0. What's your cat's name? We all have to get to know this cat.
Her name is 9 because I found her on her 9th life.
Oh my gosh. This is, you know what? Not only do you make everything consumable and you're articulate, but you know, you're just so I don't know, everything you say has such a great meaning to it. So I'm so excited. Okay. Let's pop you over here. Let's go. Are you ready?
Big screen.
Yeah,
Come as ready as I'll ever be. Let's go.
All right. Spotlight's on you.
I'll let you know it's like number 1 and then number 13. Okay, ready?
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Question number 1. What's your number 1 tip for someone starting their paranormal adventure?
Be grounded. Be as grounded as possible, because if you are not grounded, it can sweep you away. That's for sure.
What's your favorite pre-investigation meal?
Ooh, a cheeseburger, like a barbecue bacon cheeseburger.
Oh my God.
With onion rings.
With
onion rings. But yeah, but that's a whole different story. I like food. Okay.
What is your go-to ghost hunting technique?
Oh, that's a hard one. I have so many. It depends on the location. So like realistically, it depends on the location, but just because it's a rapid fire answer, I'm just going to say I like meditating in a location because it kind of helps me connect to the spirits. And that is one of my favorite techniques that I use.
Who's your favorite person to investigate with?
Dan Class.
Ooh.
How do you block and unblock the paranormal energies leading up to an investigation?
It's all intent. So it's all like, it depends on your belief system, but my belief system is if I open the door, I also have the power to close the door. You need to believe in yourself, and you need to believe that there is something greater than you that can protect you and kind of shut these things out. So it's how I open the door and it's how I close the door on investigations.
You were a guest investigator in 2018 with your current team. What was the most memorable experience about that night?
Oh my gosh. So I was investigating with Rob up in one of the rooms, and there were 2 dolls in the middle of a big queen size bed. I had my camera on the dolls, turned the camera away, went back, and one of the dolls was across the bed and almost off of the bed. And I almost flipped because I do not do dolls.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So you've been investigating for the last decade or so. How do you keep your paranormal passion alive over these years?
It kind of organically just stays alive because it's one of those things that it's still all unexplained. There's still so much to learn. There's no definitive proof. There's no definitive answers. We have our own experiences. And just when I think I know something like concrete about the paranormal, it changes. So my passion is just, it grows every day. It really does.
How important is it to journal and record your paranormal experiences?
I think it's vastly important because the human brain literally remembers things differently. Like if I had an experience today and I don't like record it and jot it down as it's happening, tomorrow it could be completely different. And it could be not intentionally changed. It's just how the human mind works. It changes.
Yeah. Is there something special you wear or bring to each investigation?
No. I'm very much like inner power. Like I believe that that's like the best thing you could. Oh, I do have like a pair of combat boots, but it's more practical. It's because if I step on glass, it's not going to puncture my foot, not my foot. Rapid fire. Oh my God. I like combat boots because they protect my feetsies. So yeah.
So smart. What's your stance on urban exploration?
As long as you are not breaking and entering or trespassing on somebody's property, go for it. But I am not going to ever support people breaking and entering into locations, vandalizing, or trespassing on private property.
Amen.
So, how would a group foster the magic and the energy that, like, for example, your group has, because your group has such great chemistry? How does another group kind of foster that magic and energy between them and their members?
Well, I don't think that that's something that can be forced. I think it kind of has to organically happen. So I would say don't have people try to fit whatever mold you want. Find the people that fit what you're looking for. And it'll happen. You'll feel it in your soul, but don't force people to try and be a part of something that's just not who they are.
Okay. And again, you know, such a great group as Ghost Finders. What's your tip on someone who wants to find a good team? Maybe they're just starting out. How do they find the team that perfectly fits them?
I would say get out there, try and add people on Facebook from your area that are on different groups. Look for different paranormal groups in your area. I feel like every area has like a New England paranormal, Southern paranormal, you know what I mean? Get on there, find people that have teams, go to conventions, go to public events, because most of them are hosted by actual investigative teams, and just find people that like fit what you want to do, because I feel like some people have different agendas, and not in a bad way. Some people go to disprove, some people go just to explore, some people go just to experience. So you want to find like a group that truly like embodies what you're looking for. Do you want to be on a team that's solely helping residential cases, or do you want to be a team that goes to all of those crazy asylums and jails and things like that? So find something that aligns with what you're looking for.
And your goals. Yeah, that's so smart. All right. And so that's another rabbit hole. But number 13, besides your senses, what's your top 3 investigation tools?
Does the human body count? Because the hair on the back of your neck, things like that. I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say it because it's not really your senses. It's like your body. So your body is like the best tool that you can use. Your typical digital recorder, and just a regular camera to document, because you don't need anything expensive or crazy. All that's just bonus. All that's just the cheese on the taco. The taco's still good without the cheese, you know? So.
And Melody's a food expert, so that's the perfect analogy.
No, I reference food way too much. Can you guys tell I really like eating? It's like I'm sitting here, I've got my Dunkin' Donuts coffee, I've got my seltzer water, and I'm sitting here like, what am I going to eat when this is over?
I love it.
So bad.
You are fantastic, and it's again, it's not just, you know, fast fire questions. I love how the answers had substance, and you could just peel off another 10 or 20 minutes on each question and just kind of go in depth of.
Yeah.
I mean, there are such great topics and great answers, so we appreciate it. You survived into the abyss.
Thank you. I'm like not good with like straightforward to the point. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to rapid fire.
Right. No,
I'm
you
not
gotta
answer person.
Right.
That's the point. And like,
all make sense, right? And you got to explain it. I mean, I'm right there with you. I definitely agree with what you said about the urban exploring.
Oh yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one for me. Like I will never be okay with someone breaking or entering. Like sometimes people will send me things because like obviously like I put myself out there that I'm a paranormal investigator and all these teams and stuff. So people will send me like pictures of them like in locations that I know for a fact that they are not supposed to be in, or at graveyards that I know for a fact have a curfew, and I know for a fact because I know the people that like own it that they were not given permission. It's like don't do that. Please don't do that. That's so disrespectful. Like please don't.
Yeah, and that's like even just like the different techniques you use for investigations, like being professional and not provoking. There's a lot of. Right. So there's like a lot of groups.
I'm so against provoking. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm just going to say it because I feel like it's on paranormal TV way too much, like network TV. Provoking is absolutely 100% never an acceptable way to approach supernatural phenomena, because first off, a lot of times people mistake negative occurrences because they don't actually dive into what's happening. We don't know how hard it is for spirits to communicate with us. What might have been a light tap came through as a push. What was supposed to be a whisper came through as a yell. What was supposed to be just a light, brush came out as a scratch. We don't know. So it would be crazy for us to approach everything as a demon, which I can promise you it's probably not a demon. It's, quote me, it's almost never a demon.
Right. That's the truth.
It's almost never a demon. I promise you, it's almost never a demon. Never provoke. That is the wrong intention, and that's the wrong energy to be putting out there, especially with something. You could be provoking a child entity. You don't know. Definitely. You don't know that's how their child,
somebody's grandmother. Mm-hmm. Definitely. And like if you do get scratched on an investigation, you don't know. That could be a child, like you said, trying to get your attention, and they unintentionally scratch you. It could be legitimately anything.
Yep,
so
they might have
do scratches mean it's a demon? Some people think so, but not always. You don't know. Needs further investigation. And you know what? If you're provoking that demon and you're going to be an asshole to that demon, guess what? You deserve what you got coming, because
I'm just going to say karma.
Is a mess that you do not want, right? Because when it comes to demonic, as little and as rare as it is, you don't know that they're there until it's way too late.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and I'll tell you right now, like, that's a hard bitch to get rid of. I'm so sorry for swearing.
Okay, we're allowed.
It's just okay. I don't know. I normally swear a lot. It's really hard for me to filter. But anyway, so like when it comes to real demonic things, get professional help, because you cannot get rid of it on your own. And if you are provoking, I'm just going to say again, karma.
It's karma.
Okay,
yeah. And
sorry, I went on a rant. I had to.
No, because like you go to all these places and a lot of them are like locally owned, and they're like, hey man, we got some rules, maybe don't use Ouija boards, don't provoke, don't do this, don't do that. And like, you just got to respect it. But my whole thing is, you don't know if it's just some bum who's just trying to like mess with you, and they're like flipping crosses to get a rise out of you, to make you think that they're a demon, or like it's actually an inhuman spirit, and the risk is not worth the reward. Like you provoking, one, you can't even show the evidence because everyone's going to look at you like a douche. Okay. And that's just negative karma. So there's no upside to provoking. I don't even know how that came about, like how we got on the topic, but I think all three of us just.
We could all sit here and 100% agree with this. I think that it's that a lot of new teams out there they're trying to push the envelope. They're trying to get the spotlight on them, and they're trying, and they're pushing it a little bit too far, if you ask me. Provocation. I mean, there's some provocation that might be okay, like Resident Undead. They'll go and they do their ripples in time, where they go and they'll like tell a story of history, but they twist it, and that's the way they want to get interaction. But what they're doing, they're not being all that disrespectful, but that's still kind of a form of provocation. But but when you get past that level, when you're getting disrespectful and you're challenging spirit, that's where
no.
Oh, when I'm watching something and someone challenges spirit, I just turn it off, because that's not how anyone should handle themselves. If you come to my house, you challenge me in my house, I got a pistol grip in my closet. All right. I mean, it's not going to happen. How do you think that someone else is going to feel? How is anyone else going to feel? Right. Since it's not the right. I don't know. And like you said, it could be someone's child, someone's grandparents.
Melody, you love analogies. It's like we're all going fishing, right? We're all going fishing. And the point is, we're just trying to fish, and, sometimes we don't get any catches. The thing you don't do is you don't throw a grenade in the water, destroy the pond just to get some fish. Like, that's not the point. Right. One, you're going to get in legal trouble. The people that trusted you to fish there are going to be extremely upset. And, that's just That's not the goal.
It's just not how
You
it
know what I
goes.
do?
Yeah, it's. I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt. It's just
Go in.
There's three of us. We all want to talk. It's cool.
Yeah. So I think a lot of it is there are some shows on TV that people need to realize they do what sells, and what sells is evil, demons, fear, scared.
Yep.
So they roll with it.
Mhm.
And that's not how investigations actually are. Like, it's so funny. People ask me all the time, they're like, oh, what's it like being a paranormal investigator? Is it fun? And I'm like, oh, it has its moments. And then there's other nights I spend 9 hours in the dark talking to myself.
Right. That happens a lot.
I say talking to walls.
My go-to on a slow investigation, that's when I bring out my hacked radio or the spirit box.
Mm-hmm.
That's my go-to. If anything, that radio and the sound, I believe that sound and music amps up energy. And I think that the if anything, it does that. So that's my go-to.
Yeah.
When a slow night, what do you do on a slow investigation?
Oh, it could be anything. I love just sitting in the silence for a little bit. It can't hurt. It can't hurt. And it's just like a technique. And it's not even really a technique. It's just something that I find really works, especially by yourself. If you go off by yourself, I don't know how you guys investigate, but I like to explore like the whole like vulnerability thing. Because a lot of people, when they have experiences, they're alone when they have them. So sometimes just grabbing a camera, going off by yourself, setting it up on a tripod, and just sitting. That's a good one. Or I'm like, Dan has got me hooked on the Geobox. I love the Geobox. So I'd probably just throw that on. Yeah, it's so cool. I love it. Like, I'd never really used one before.
They just sound creepy. You're listening to it. It sounds like you're listening to the other side.
Yeah, but like
it's really cool.
Kind of like what you're talking about, like when you do a solo run, for example, that's like some of the things that, scare people, but you don't have to do that. Like the way that my group, it's a lot more structured than most people's, but where it's like, say you have a team of 10, you break them up and it's like a big location. You break them up into 2 teams of 5. Everyone's got a role. Someone's and then you're like, you're reducing the noise contamination and you're letting everyone experience the entire location. And then at the end, there's some time for duo runs and solo runs, because I firmly believe that if you're alone or if you're in a small group, the spirits might be more inapt to, talk to you. But if you don't want to do a solo run, you shouldn't do it. Like if you're not comfortable yet, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
But to your point, if you enjoy it just like you do, it could be one of the best experiences, because you even alluded to earlier about like your meditation and you just being alone with like an IR camera. Like that's the beautiful thing, because anything can happen.
Yeah.
That's the truth. I've always kind of had the thing where you don't go off on your own for basically there have been the first reason I always give is because there's been so many times I've had experiences by myself and no one believes me, and it's not caught on camera. Like, all the cool stuff doesn't happen on camera. I don't know if anyone else experiences this, but for me, the cool stuff usually happens off of camera. If you're lucky, you get it on camera, right? So I don't know. I like to have someone with me to validate my story, validate my experience, but also it's a safety thing for me. But yeah, like you said, it's putting yourself in a vulnerable state. So I think that's why Brian and I, we're going to be going and doing investigations, and we're going to be doing paranormal challenges, and we're going to be challenging each other, putting each other in vulnerable situations. So that's going to be really interesting. So
so
I don't want to allude to too much, but I have a new project coming out hopefully in 2021 that kind of has to run with the idea of solo investigations and diving into that. So I can't really say much more, but it'll be really exciting. it'll be a really exciting take on an investigation and kind of analyzing what isolation can do. And I mean like true, like 12 hours solitary investigating. So.
But that's kind of like your background too, because that's one of the ways you started. I know you joined a group, but then you kind of went off on your own for a little bit. So you have that. I mean, you have the best of both worlds. So, you know, with this new project, you can kind of go back to your roots a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
That's exciting.
By one of my favorite people in the field. So it'll be a really fun project. And I'm so excited to get the ball rolling, and hopefully COVID can kind of like pass so that can be released.
Right.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about your history, you know, and your origin stories, but you know, what's going on with the current melody, right? But like your current projects that you are allowed to talk about. What are the most recent investigations you've been on? What are you working on? Because I know, I mean, with someone that's as passionate as you, it's just not one project. You probably okay. So go ahead and tell us some stuff.
All right. So there's not a lot that I can actually super talk about. Like, I don't know if I'm really allowed to talk about the locations that are coming up on the Ghost Finders. I know that one was kind of alluded to sort of like on Facebook, but I don't want to get into any trouble. But we went to a really cool old mansion, which was incredible. We went to an old war fort, a super famous war fort. And we had some incredible experiences. I got to do not a solo investigation, but I did like a dual investigation with Megan for the very first time. And that was just awesome to have like the females at it together, like, and bring that energy girl power to light. You know, I just recently, we did a live investigation on the Ghost Finders page, which was literally all night. We just kept posting live. We did the live ritual. We went upstairs. We had like all these different experiences. Yeah, I mean, I'm in pre-production for a documentary that's very like close to my heart. I can talk a little bit about that because it's kind of my project. So the only one I'd be screwing is myself, right? So I'm really going to dive deep into the correlation between addiction and paranormal experiences. So a lot of people who know and have followed me on social media know that I am in recovery. I have over 2 years sober. And I truly have met some people in and out of the field, but I'm focusing more on people in the field who are in recovery and have had profound experiences directly relating to their recovery. So I'm going to be highlighting those stories and kind of connecting the dots and kind of like showing that storyline that is normally shied away, right? Because when we talk about credible witnesses, someone who's an alcoholic or an addict, they are the least credible witness, right? But you know, as someone who's in recovery, I can tell you right now, like my experiences were valid, and like I've come across many people in and out of the field, like I said, the paranormal field, who've had the same experiences and they haven't been able to share their stories. So I'm going to highlight those stories and bring them to light. And I'm really excited about it. I think it's something that's needed. It's something that hasn't really been done before. It's been touched on mainly, like minutely in certain aspects, but I'm really going to dive into that. So I'm really excited about that. And then I have another project that I'm working on that I kind of alluded to earlier about the solitary investigating.
That's awesome. First of all, congratulations on your sobriety. That's really awesome. Yeah. I kind of grew up in the program. Both my parents are recovering, and I heard a lot of those stories. And like there's stories of people who when they got to that to that bottom point, there's like a little green man that a lot of people talked about in the program, and I would listen to these stories of this of this entity that they would talk about. And I think that that's great, because I do believe, I mean, there's, I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't partake in certain activities either. And I do believe that sometimes that threshold gets real close. So I don't always discredit. Not that it's good, right? I wouldn't. But so that I think that's awesome. Good for you. And plus bringing your sobriety, bringing the program into the field. Yeah. With that being said, I think that people will be really surprised how many people in the field are in the program and are, fighting for that for sobriety. So
exactly, and it's like
thank
so
you for bringing
important.
that to life. They really
and
is.
I just want to be like very clear. Like, there's a lot of like traditions and anonymity when it comes to certain programs, so we don't specifically name anything. I'm working on opening up like a scholarship fund for treatment at a treatment facility in my area, so like people can donate to that as opposed to like a specific organization, because it's fully self-supporting, declining on outside contributions. So I'm gonna, like, with the release of the documentary, I'm hoping to like create like a scholarship fund for people to donate to see, like, do like a nice like viewing, like a premiere screening. And it's really cool because like everyone involved, when I approached them about it, because they had told me their stories just in passing, when I approached them about what I was thinking about doing, every single one of them was like, yes, I want to be involved, because I didn't want to force anyone to break their anonymity. I didn't want to force anyone to feel compelled to be a part of it. And it's just kind of organically like come about in a way that I feel strongly about moving forward in it. It's something, like I said, it's so close to my heart, and it's something that's not really talked about. So I think it's important because it can also help people too. Like, I would never shame someone for drinking, like anything like that. Like, that's not what it's about. When I say like I'm in recovery, it's not to make anyone feel bad because they drink. Like, please partake in your adult beverages. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would never. But for the person who may be viewing this, thinking they might have a problem and thinking like, oh, I can't, you can. Recovery is possible. If someone like me can, someone like you can. And not just that, but like a big hurdle for me was I was afraid what being in recovery would look like if people found out that I was in recovery. Would all of my previous evidence be discredited? Would people think like, you know what I mean? And that was a big hurdle for me. So this is another reason why this project is close to me, because it's to show you that like, it doesn't matter what you do, you can get clean, and you might not have to be public about it like I am, but it's just how I choose to live my life.
This working out for you, this is spirit validation telling you this is a path that you should take. And seriously, I think it's incredible. It's always been something that's been a part of my life ever since I was a little kid, to friends, to now friends with kids who have problems. And I don't know what it's like where you live, but there are shelters that are out of beds. There are people who want to be sober. There are heroin addicts, but they are stuck. They are literally stuck, and they are terrified because there is no place for them to go.
There's no beds.
That is just, I think that what you're doing is very commendable. And I think that with the paranormal, we focus a lot on preserving history. We focus a lot on that. Well, we need to also focus on preserving spirit within ourselves and ourselves, and that's huge. So I think that what you're doing is awesome. Definitely, it takes a lot of strength. Okay. For me, the biggest hurdle I've ever had, and I don't know if this is a fair comparison, but for me, it's the only thing I have really to compare it with, because like I said, I partied, but I was able to walk away. The hardest thing for me, though, was quitting smoking cigarettes. That today is still, I have not had a cigarette. I think it's been almost 2 years now. I still want a cigarette every single day. I get a little bit stressed out. I want a cigarette. Like it does. Like I get off work, I want a cigarette. I want a freaking cigarette right now. And I could only imagine if it was something other than that. And so I know it takes a lot of strength. I've watched a lot of friends. I've lost a lot of friends due to addiction. And so it definitely it needs it, and I think that's awesome. I really do. I can't say enough about it because that's something that actually does hit really near dear for me. So thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. Thank you for being so receptive. Some people get really weird about it and they're like, that took a turn. But it correlates. It really does. It connects to the paranormal because that's what I'm kind of like bringing to the table. And I don't know, like I have this theory that like if you think about it, someone struggling with substance use disorder are the perfect candidate for spiritual attack. What do they go for? They go for people that are not strong. They're not spiritually connected. They are mentally weak or have you. Like they are the perfect candidates because no one's going to believe them and they have no defense against what's happening. They're and they have so much pain and anguish inside of them that they're the perfect people to feed off of.
Right.
So,
and me being a child that grew up in a household of it, right? My home was the perfect storm for it. I lived with my grandparents for a long time. I just moved in with my mom. We're a broken family and we're here. And holy cow, little we know, we were a perfect storm. Once my sister invited whatever that was, because it was already haunted. It was a condo that was a part of what was once an all adult community. And so we were the first minors to live in this building. And then things just kind of like escalated more and more and more. And we were that perfect storm. We had a river across the street. It was a brick building. There's an underground river going underneath the building. Oh, the perfect storm.
The perfect storm.
Oh, right? Like as a paranormal investigator, we're like, holy crap, I need to get into that place, right?
Right?
Well,
like, that's everything.
Right. Well, this was a nightmare that I was living as a kid. Like, but now I'm thinking like, wow, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And then it's just a little bit of education. If I was a kid back in I was a teenager in the 90s. So like going through this and I was going through my own struggles and this is just crazy. The stuff that happened and it's just knowing and looking back like, man, if I only knew what I know now. But I guess I wouldn't know now if I didn't go through what I went through then. So it all comes full circle, right? So
it always does. So those are the projects that I'm working on.
Yeah, and I have 2 points real quick. One, I agree. Like when you look at possessions, or you look at when there's like spiritual activity, like when you do a solo run or at night, it's always when someone's the most vulnerable. So when people are hitting lows in their point in their life, there might be possessions and whatnot. Or if you're doing a solo run because you're alone, you're more vulnerable. Or at night, like we talk about when we're investigating, we put up a shield. If we're lying down in bed, that's where we have the least power, and that just makes sense. And then the second thing, which is kind of circling a little bit back to the Into the Abyss section, Melody, you were talking about passion and keeping that passion alive over 12 years, and you said it happens organically, and I think maybe from your perspective it does. But from an outside perspective, what I'm seeing is you're following the path that your ideals align to and that you're extremely passionate about. So, whether it's working with a team or doing something solo or even finding another group that really, shares your ideals and you just absolutely love, and then all the different projects that are so meaningful to you. I think that's what keeps the passion alive, is because you keep moving in the direction and keep following your ideals. And because some people might just keep doing the same thing and they might get really excited about the next investigation, but they're not as passionate as you because you have these underlying, I'm doing this for a reason. I'm doing this for a good cause. I'm doing this because it really lines up. But you're such a driven person. It's organic to you. You're just being Melody. You're just, doing you. But from an outside perspective, I mean, your drive and your passions. I mean, every project that you talked about, from your origin stories to the handful that you're doing right now, it's all because, you know, it's just aligning with your ideals, and it's magical. It's really cool to see. So
I love
I'm
that,
really
Brian.
excited.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited about what's to come.
No, that's he hit the nail right on the head with that.
Yeah.
You have a strength and a charisma about you. I think that anyone that gets to go and work with you, no matter if it's within the paranormal or outside, I think that they're pretty darn lucky. I mean, it's not very often that you. I mean, we all try, but not everybody has it naturally. So it's really cool. It's been a serious pleasure meeting you and getting to know you tonight.
Yes. Thank you both so much for having me on. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous. I was like, I don't know. Well, I know I can talk for 2 hours, but is it what you guys want me to talk about? That's like the
we'll
real
talk about
question.
anything.
Anything. Yeah.
We will legit like anything.
And
Yeah,
I
it was
really
wild.
hope that we can get together and do like an investigation sometime, because I think that we all three have like we come from different points and different views. And I think that's really important when it comes to investigating. If you have like a group of people who all believe the same thing, you're not going to accomplish much.
Correct.
You know, but I would love to investigate with you guys sometime.
Yeah.
I think we should definitely make it happen. You know what? I'm with, I don't know if you know who Mike Ricksucker is, but we are getting together with him. We're going to the Hinsdale house coming this spring. It's going to be Brian's first trip to the Hinsdale house.
Ooh, that's so exciting. The Hinsdale is so, I love that place. Like, I have stories for days about the Hinsdale. It's so funny because like Dan's a very close friend of mine, but like I'm like a separate like Hinsdale promoter, because it always comes up in conversation because I just have had crazy experiences there, and it's so rich in history, and like the energies that are there, like first off, not demonic. I'm just like, we'll circle back to like what I said. It's almost never a demon, not demonic, but it's like old and ancient, and there's a lot to unpack when you're there. So have so much fun when you guys go.
Right. Now, real quick, since we're on the subject of the Hinsdale house, the Hinsdale house does help support this show. I was there though, and I saw I tried explaining this to Dan, and he's like, the first thing that everyone always says is Pugwidgee. This is not a Pugwidgee, what I saw. This was the man. He's shaped like a man, but he had like almost like a deer face. He had a snout, big black eyes, and it had antlers. Ooh. So maybe it could have been like the spirit of a man with a mask on. It could have been like, it could have been
shapeshifter.
It could have been a shapeshifter, right? So I was not the only one that saw it. Amber Wellman, who was there with me, we were sitting at the campfire, and it was sitting on the path going up the hill into the woods. And I was like,
when the stairs were there? Was it before the stairs were built?
Before the stairs. It's before the stairs. Before the stairs are there. Actually, I haven't been there since he put in the stairs or the dock, and I'm really excited to see it. Anyways,
I was blown away, by the way. The stairs and the dock. Anyway.
This thing that I saw though, like I've done a lot of camping. I love being outdoors. My intuition told me to grab 2 big huge sticks. I start waving above my head, and I start just yelling as loud as I can. That's what you do to bears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when I did that, the thing it left, but it kind of like, it didn't make any noise. It just kind of like whiffed, lofted away. I don't know, good adjective word. Just like it made no noise. It just like went away. And Amber and I were just like totally beside ourselves. And it was one of the, still to this day, one of the craziest experiences I've had on an investigation yet. And we weren't even investigating at the time. The team was investigating and filming inside the house at the time. So we had no equipment. We had no cameras. After that point, we kept the thermal outside. Of course, nothing happened after that.
Of course not. Never happens.
Have you ever experienced anything like that when there?
No, I haven't seen a deer face person. No, but that's really cool. Like, I don't know. Like, I had an experience up in the woods. I hosted a public event there back in 2016, and I focused on the woods, and it was like snowing. It was like the first snow of the season up there, and I took everyone out in the woods. I was like, let's go. And it felt like things were like pushing us back to the house. Like they didn't want us there. And we saw like shadow figures like darting from the trees down the hill, kind of like to go with that, like get out of here, like push us back thing. But no, I never saw anything like that there. But there's a feeling in those woods. I can't put my place in it, but
yeah,
that's the coolest story I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Sorry, I now want to see like a deer-faced entity. Like that's so cool.
That's the only way I can really explain to, like, now it's years later.
Yeah.
Like, so like you said, our memories kind of changes, but that's always kind of like the vision. It was like a man with like almost like a deer head, with the big black eyes. And Amber and I, like, Amber's sensitive. I'm an empath. We're like, well, we're not going to sleep in this house. It's supposed to be like have like this dark energy in it. So we both bought a tent and we slept in our tents, thinking like we're gonna be safer.
That's a real move. It's worse outside than it is in the house.
Oh no! If you ask me, the outside has more going on than the inside. At least based on the 2 nights I spent there. So I tend to do more investigation into that. But the whole property, it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, I could see myself like vacationing there. That place is so beautiful. So I'm excited to go back. I'm excited.
It's amazing. I'm excited for you guys. I'm so excited for you guys. And I'm so excited, Brian, that you get to go for the first time, because it's like an experience like none other.
Yeah. But we should work something out somewhere behind the scenes and all get together, and maybe we can get Dan to come along. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yes, that would be so much fun.
I don't know if he's still watching. I know he's a busy guy. So
he's on another podcast. He started at 9.
Oh, okay.
Well, depending on everyone's schedule, maybe towards the end of 21 or maybe 2022. Like whatever works out for us. But or if like our like COVID calms down and then we got something good going on in the summer where we all have a break. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm a planner, so let's get together behind the scenes. Let's set a date and let's move forward. So yeah.
Yes, I love it. Thank you guys so much for having me on tonight. I had so much fun. I hope everyone who watched had fun. Like I don't know. I get a little crazy sometimes, but yeah.
We all do.
No.
Uh-oh. Thank you.
No.
I thought you froze again.
That's not crazy.
Can I ask you one more question? I noticed you have a tattoo on your lower arm. What is it of?
So I have a bunch of tattoos on my lower arm. I have like a crazy half face, so like it's a half woman, half skeleton that goes up to. Let's do this. Can you guys see it, or is it?
The wrong face.
I just made a mistake. All right, go ahead.
So I have like a woman sitting like in a tree line. I have like an almost like exorcism thing, and then I have to get more work done on here, but I have like a creepy girl and a creepy guy, and I'm working on like a cool slender man to come in here. I have a bunch of tattoos. I have like a Medusa, like succubus on my arm, and
so you don't mess with dolls, but you got like all.
So put them on her body.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I watched Child's Play as a kid, and I was terrified of Chucky, and that has just gone on into my adulthood, and I just don't do dolls. I don't know. Like, don't come to life. Don't talk to me. Like, you're a doll. Stay put.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, so like look at your face on the podcast, and then to the right of it, it's like to the left is a beautiful Christmas tree, but to the right is like this creepy doll with like no eyes.
It's a doll. How did I not notice that? Oh my god, that's crazy.
Let's go.
Well, come on. This is the Instill house. They actually they made a post that they actually
the Christmas tree. I see it. I get it. I just made the connection.
Yeah, here I did the. We'll do it here real quick because I know we're getting close to the end of time here.
Yeah.
Where'd it go? Okay, there it is. That's the picture. So you can see the dolls. You can see the long gone dolls there. There's two of them. Terry Long is a good friend of mine. She recommissions these dolls. But I love what he did there. I think that it's great.
And Melody, you could have got put next to the Christmas tree, next to the Christmas lights. But you're right next to the doll.
And I got
So
put next to the doll. Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy. I've been looking at you guys all night. I didn't even notice my screen.
let's go.
It's okay.
So, everyone watches the show. They fall in love with you. They fall in love with the whole, all of your projects. Where do they go?
They go to melodyknapp.com, which is down below. And then I just need to triple check because I'm really bad with idea memory or whatever have you. So if you go to Facebook, I am at Paranormal Melody Knapp on Facebook. You can also find me on Instagram at melody.knapp or on Twitter, although I'm really bad at using Twitter. I'm trying to get better at it. But you can also just find me on Facebook. I have a fan page and I also have my regular page, which is almost filled up, which is why I have the fan page, because I don't want to deny people the exciting glimpse into my life and my pecan pie post, because I did a whole rant about how pecan pie is the best today. So,
Oh my goodness.
About food again. I'm sorry. Like, it's just my life. It's what
Barbecue
I do.
bacon
I like
cheeseburger. We got the pecan pie. Ooh.
Hey, Hey, I love a good barbecue. I used to bake. I used to work at a bakery, and I made the pecan pies and the pumpkin pies. I worked with a pastry chef, but I wasn't a pastry chef, so I did like the pastries and stuff. So I love good food myself. I mean, you can probably tell, I'm not as skinny as I used to be.
Neither am I, but it's okay. I'm on the wrong side of 25. I'm almost 30. It's whatever.
Wait till you're 40.
Oh,
Let's go.
It's okay. It's like a fine wine, right? It's like a fine wine. It gets better with age, right? That's like the logic.
Yeah.
Tattoos hurt more. I just got a tattoo.
Yeah. Show it off.
I can't like do the splits, man. It's like it's on my leg. Okay. It's a outline of my kids, and I had them do this like watercoloring, like splotching over it. And, I like to go hiking with them, so I did like a tree in there too. But that tattoo freaking hurt more than any other tattoo I have gotten.
Well, where on your leg did you get it?
It's right on.
Is it on your calf or your shin?
You guys are gonna see my Christmas PJs. Hold on.
Sean. Let's go.
Can you see it?
Oh, wow.
Well, that's why. That's where you got it. It's not because you're older.
No.
That placement, that's a place to hurt.
That's what my tattoo artist was saying. Oh, look.
Oh, maybe they're right. I don't know. I think all tattoos hurt. I just love them.
But like this one was the one I got before that. This one didn't feel good either. I mean, no tattoo feels good, but I swear, like each one hurts more than the next. I had a friend recommend. I know you're not supposed to do it; only the pussies do it. But I got to know. He told me about this numbing stuff, and I think I just might do that.
I don't know.
So
who cares what anyone thinks? My God, I'm probably going to get some numbing stuff when I do under here. That's a really sensitive area. My son pinches me there right now, and it's like hurts more than anything on earth. And that's like the last spot I really got to fill in on my arm is like the right under here, besides like this. But
what age do you think you're going to let?
I don't know.
Yeah. What age do you think you're going to let your son? Because I mean, you're so passionate about the field. I mean, as soon as your son grows up, he's going to be gravitated towards it. Just like you. At like what age are you going to be like, yeah, you could tag along on this haunted nunnery investigation or whatever? Like, have you thought of that?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has crossed my mind. If he is interested in it, it's going to be I just got to make sure that he's careful, as long as he's like maturely like in the right, like I'm thinking maybe 12 or over. It really depends on like him and like where he's at emotionally and spiritually. And yeah, I mean, like a lot of kids, like they like to joke around and like it's all like fun and games, but when it comes to the supernatural, it's not fun. I mean, it's fun, but it's not a game. Like,
Right.
you know,
I'm right there.
really, you know, I don't know,
I'm
12,
right
13. It really is dependent on who he grows up to be as a kid.
Every kid is different, right? You can't. It's about when they're ready, not when you want them to be ready.
Exactly.
I mean, I've had. I mean, earlier today, earlier in the show, we had
Madison, right?
Madison come in and say hi, and she, you know, she's the same age as my daughter. My daughter wants nothing to do with it. It still scares her. So it's just a matter of who's, you know, where are you at? And is it something you want to do? It may not be something your son wants to do. Who knows?
Exactly.
My son, he wants to do it. He's all gung-ho. But I'll tell you what, my son is, he's 11 years old. And he is not quite at that maturity level yet where I would bring him, because he just wouldn't bring the level of respect that needs to be there for investigation.
Yeah, and yeah, but the way Sean uses the paranormal and his kids is a little different. Like, you know, if someone wants to date his daughter, they have to go on a paranormal investigation with Sean, and he's got to take them to like the creepiest places. They got to do solo runs, and they got to prove that they're worthy enough.
Right, prove that you're going to protect my daughter.
Yeah,
that's right. You know what's funny though? You know what's really funny though? So my youngest daughter, who is she's 7. We have a neighbor that she plays with, and we were going around trick or treating, and I was talking to his mom, and I brought up paranormal investigating, and she's like, "Yeah, your daughter told my son that ghosts are real. Thanks for that." I'm like, well, my bad.
That's great.
That's legit.
That's
like, oh, I was like, well, yeah. Yeah.
So
you confirm or deny, but
so we're flowing all these people to your website. We're having them buy the merch. We're having them check out and watch all your projects. If you have one final message to tell the paranormal community, what would it be?
Buckle up and enjoy the ride. I really think that the field is shifting in our direction. Like, I think a lot of it at first was kind of just proving that the supernatural exists. And I think that we've crossed that barrier and it's kind of diving deep into the whys and the hows now. So I'm really excited for the future. I'm really excited to just approach this new year with like an open mind and that North Star thing that Sean was talking about. That's really cool.
Isn't it? Like,
yeah,
I feel like there's been an awakening. I feel like there's been a spiritual awakening going on, though. I feel like with the height of technology and everything, I think that a lot of kids, they're exploring other avenues other than just these organized religions. And I don't want to, I mean, I've got my crucifix on. I don't want to put down organized religion, but at the same time, you have to be able to keep an open mind. I was brought up Jewish. And one thing I always liked about Judaism is they taught you to ask the questions, which is polar opposite of Catholicism, right? But that's one part of Catholicism that I've always struggled with, because I asked the questions. But I think that God gave us this free will, and I feel like we're supposed to know this. I feel like God gave us these gifts. God wants us to understand these things, but for some reason, the powers that be in man, the church, or whomever they may be, they for some reason don't want us to know what exactly we're capable of. That's a whole nother discussion for another day. But that's something that I kind of think, because we can go down that rabbit hole for another hour, and we're already 10 minutes over.
Oh no, are we? Oh my gosh.
I would be honored if I could steal some of your time in 2021 and have you come back on the show, and just talk more and just, dive deeper into all these different topics.
Yeah.
And of course, also our investigation that we're going to do probably in 21. So I'm excited about that future too. So
absolutely. I will definitely come back and hang out with you guys. This was so incredible. You have an amazing podcast, and I'm so grateful that you guys had me on tonight. So thank you.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for joining us. And I guess with that, we'll just kind of wrap things up. I just want to say next week, it's Christmas. We're not going to do a show. But the week of New Year's, we do have a show. We have Brian Baum from Bearded Paranormal coming on. And that's going to be another fun show. And then we just dive right into the new year. We are going to have Linda Dix on again the first week of the new year, just like we have. This will be the third time now for the new year that she's coming on with us. And she's going to give us her predictions on the year. And we're going to go over the predictions that she made for 2020. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to be really interesting. I hope that she has some good things to say about 2021, because I am over 2020. Right? Everybody. Right? Everybody, please have a wonderful holiday. No matter how you celebrate this week that's coming up, whether if it's the solstice, whether if it's Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is, please enjoy it to the fullest. We need to enjoy these days so much, bringing all the positive energy we can. So everybody, thank you for joining us, and have a happy holidays. We will see you just before the new year.
Thank you, Melody. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you again, Melody. Oh, I almost forgot to do something.
This paranormal adventure that we're all on, it connects us. This is our paranormal community. This is our paranormal podcast with your host, Sean Gilmore.
He's worked in the paranormal field for 10 years.
He's a part of 2 paranormal teams.
His passion is creating para-unity.
With your host, Brian Mersel.
He's worked in the paranormal field for 7 years.
He leads his own paranormal team.
He wants to help people start their paranormal adventure or grow their existing one. This is our paranormal adventure. This is our paranormal community. This is our paranormal podcast.
It's about supporting. It's about making para-unity a real thing, because we all need to support each other within our community. And that's what the show has always been about.